The aim of this video is to discuss the beat generation around 1948 to 1960, metafiction in the year 1960 to present, confessional poetry in the year 1958 to 1965, postcolonial literature in the year 1950 to present, magical realism in 1930 to present, and postmodernism in 1945 to present.
The Beat Generation in 1948 to 1960. So the Beat Generation was a literary movement started by a group of authors whose work explored and influenced American culture and politics in the post-World War II era. So the best examples of Beat literature are Allen Ginsberg House in 1956 and William S. Burroughs' Naked Lunch in 1959. Both Howe and Naked Lunch were the focus of obscenity trials that ultimately helped to liberalize publishing in the U.S.
Metafiction is a form of literature that emphasizes its own constructiveness in a way that it continually reminds the reader to be aware that they are reading or viewing a fictional work. And also, metafiction is self-conscious about language, literary form, storytelling, and directly or indirectly draw attention to their status as artifacts. It is frequently used as a form of parody or a tool to undermine literary conventions and explore the relationship between literature and reality, life and art. Thus, the term metafiction can be described as fiction about the nature and purpose of fiction. Examples of metafictional films are Deadpool by Fabiani Shaza and Rob Liefeld.
Hey, yeah, I wanna shoot, baby.
Packed in your stack, especially in the back, brother. Wanna thank your mother for a butt like that. You're a shotgun. Bang! What's up with that thing? I wanna know, how does it hang? Hold up, Mr. Lover, like Prince said, you're a happy mother.
And also The Cabin in the Woods by Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard.
What is going on?
Somebody sent those things here to get us.
What is this place?
The cabin in the woods.
Confessional poetry is a poetry of the personal or I. These styles of writing emerged in the late 1950s and early 1960s. The confessional poets were not merely recording their emotion on paper. Craft and construction were extremely important to their work. Private experiences and feelings about death, trauma, depression, and relationship were addressed in this type of poetry, often in an autobiographical manner.
One of the most well-known poems by confessional poet is Daddy by Clark. Addressed to her father, the poem contains references to the Holocaust but uses a sing-song rhythm that echoes the nursery rhymes of childhood.
Some lines of the poem Daddy by Sylvia Plath. Daddy, I have had to kill you. You died before I had time. Marble heavy, a bag full of God. Ghastly statue with one great tooth, big as a Frisco seal.
Postcolonial literature often addresses the problem and consequences of the decolonization of a country, especially questions relating to political and cultural independence of formerly subjugated people, and themes such as racialism and colonialism.
Common genres of postcolonial literature include nonfiction, critical essays, historical fiction, novels, and poetry. Postcolonial literature explores themes such as colonialism causes the oppression of the colonized. Colonization causes a suppression of culture. Colonialism has effects that last long beyond colonization.
Magical realism, or marvelous realism, is a genre for narrative fiction more broadly as that, while encompassing a range of subtly different concepts, expresses a primarily realistic view of the world while also adding or revealing magical elements. So in short, magical realism refers to fiction and literature, in particular, with magic in the supernatural presented in an otherwise real-world or mundane setting. Matthäus Scripture defines magical realism as what happens when a highly detailed, realistic setting is invaded by something too strange to believe. Magical realism can help us remember those amazing superstitions and beliefs we had as children, and perhaps teach us how to bring that world into our current one.
The books that I can recommend are: first, The Girl with Glass Feet by Alice Shaw; second, Winter's Tale by Mark Halperin; third, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and so many more.
Postmodernism is a late 20th century movement that is a reaction to the worldwide view of the 16th to middle 20th century. This movement contends that there is no objective reality and that human nature is socially determined. Postmodern literary works usually are ironic and abandon convention, formal structure, a linear narrative style, and social political content. During postmodern, hyperreality, image saturation, simulacra seem more powerful than the real images and text with no prior original. As seen on TV and as seen on MTV are more powerful than the unmediated experiences. Postmodernism was originally a reaction to modernism, largely influenced by the Western European disillusionment introduced by World War II. Postmodern literature common themes. Number 1, paranoia, the belief that there is something out of the ordinary while everything remains the same. Example in Kurt Vonnegut's novel Breakfast of Champions, a character becomes violent when he imagines everyone else as a robot and he is the only human. Number 2, metafiction. Writing about writing, often used to undermine the authority of the author and to advance stories in unique ways. Example in Italo Calvino's novel Eve on a Winter's Night, a Traveler, is about a reader attempting to read a novel of the same name. In Kurt Vonnegut's novel Slaughterhouse-Five, the first chapter is about the writing process of the novel. Number 3, pastiche. Authors often combine multiple elements in postmodern genre. Example, fiction includes elements from science fiction, pop culture references, and detective fiction to create fictional cultures and concepts. Number 4, irony, playfulness, and black humor. Example, The Crying Lot of 49, Pension uses childish wordplay while discussing serious subjects. An example of his wordplay can be found in the names of his characters: Mike Fallopian, Stanley Kotix, Mocho Maas, and Dr. Hilarious.
I hope you learned something from our video. Thank you for watching.